Can everyone hear? Everyone, bit of class. Lose yourself in the music. Lose yourself in the music. Oh, so beautiful. So beautiful.
It just feels like a desert island here in this weather in England, doesn't it?
Oh, exactly. Thank you for joining us. This is the Mesut Island Disks.
Very good.
We've got two new From Dial Square to Wear Virgins today, so go easy on them, everyone, please.
Yeah.
First up, Darren from the Clock In Talk podcast, the most horizontally laid back person you come across to me, next to myself. Holds it together. If I was actually lying on the floor with a heart attack, I'm going, oh my God, I'm actually having a heart attack. And said, no, it's all right, mate. No, it's all right. It's all right. Have a cup of tea. You'll be fine. I'll believe him because that's the way he comes across. The lovely Darren. How are you? Thanks.
Yeah, I'm really good. Thanks. Look, I'm just positive. I just get so sick of the negativity surrounding our club always. So
Darren, I like you already. Totally agree. Thanks.
I just try to find something happy in this miserable world of ours.
That's fantastic. A great attitude.
Absolutely fantastic. And with that voice as well, Darren, you should have a Radio 2 program or something like that.
I'm trying. Anyone out there?
Yeah. And Paul, introduce yourself. It's great to have you on board.
Thanks for having me, Andrew. I'm Paul from a relatively new blog and podcast on the scene. We're called Talking Arse. And we've kind of been going just for this season, really. So we're all very new, but just pleased to be here and like we just said, really, just trying to be positive and get rid of this negative vibe that we have hanging over us, which is just a bit depressing and boring, really, isn't it?
It is. I should have come onto the show last week when I had a bit of a rant about all these people that are actually starting to get negative about Mikel Arteta already.
A bit of a rant. You talked for an hour and a half. You did a show all by yourself, and you talked for 90 minutes.
Hang on, 2 minutes, 2 hours. 2 hours. Exactly.
Okay, Mr. Laid Back.
Well, I'm like Darren, I'm like Paul. I just think anyone that's got any kind of negativity at the moment needs their heads tested, to be perfectly honest.
The guy's been there 6 weeks. It's ridiculous.
It is. I know. Absolutely. Well, everyone knows Glenn. And
they do.
I'm starting to regret that I can actually hear you this week, to be perfectly honest. But how are you, mate?
Right. I'm doing okay. I mean, if it always cracks me up when on these shows someone will say, "How you doing?" They're like, "Oh, I'm fine. How are you?" My wife is upstairs with a broken ankle and a broken foot, and she's always buzzing me to help her get stuff. So yeah, I'm doing okay, I guess.
Everyone knows that he's married to a Wookiee as well, so that's even harder.
Here's that context for the new guys. My wife is Latino, and her side of the family is blessed with a lot of hair. And with my wife's condition, I have to help her take a shower. And I made a Wookiee joke, and Andrew won't let go of it. But it's like this, giving her a shower.
I don't know about broken ankle, broken marriage, maybe.
Well, you have to try and get the knots out of her leg hair, and it's pretty hard.
She calls all of these things I do, these silly little shows you do. She never sees them. Otherwise, I would never do that. So don't worry about it.
Never show them to her. Never.
I don't care. I don't want to watch your silly shows, Glenn. Help me in the shower. So that's it. All right. Now. Well, that's how I'm fucking doing, Andrew.
Next week, if you're on next week, Glenn, I've got one of those Wookiee masks, from that woman that went viral. But yeah, I've got one of those. I'm going to wear it for the show.
All right, get to your thing. The new guys, I'm always sidetracking stuff Andrew wants to do by talking too much. So, Andrew, please take it away.
Thank you. And you've only got about an hour, haven't you, Glenn?
Yeah, I have to drive my kid to college. Oh, man. 18 years old.
Just tell her to get a job instead, mate. That's where you're going wrong.
What's that old saying about a bird? I can't wait till she spreads her legs and leaves the nest or whatever. Whatever. Wings, nest, legs.
Darren and Paul are seriously regretting coming on already. So
I'm not kidding. I'm just thinking 2 hours. Blimey.
No, dudes. Wait, let me tell the new guys. I'm a very positive guy, just not about family life. I'm positive about Arsenal.
Well, apart from some things. Right, let's move on. Otherwise, we're going to get through this shit. Anyway, it's not shit. It's a very, very entertaining show coming up. So everyone, apart from Glenn, who's American, will know Desert Island Disks and the format, where we're obviously slightly changing the format, but it's a very similar idea. So we're on a desert island. You can only take so many things onto the desert island to watch, to read, to listen to, etc., etc. But in this case, we've got a goal from an Arsenal game that you will always ever get tired of watching. The Arsenal game that you'll never ever get tired of watching. Maybe it means something a bit special to you. A game to wipe off the surface of the earth that you will never want to see ever again. You can actually burn it ceremonially on the beach. And then we've got songs that remind you of certain eras of the Arsenal life that you've had so far. And finally, a film that encapsulates your relationship with Arsenal. Okay, so let's join in. Can you guys, by the way, on the panel, can you actually see the comments? Can you get access to the comments on the right-hand side of the screen at the top right? You click on the comments. We can all get involved with the viewers' comments as well. So please, those of you watching, please join in and give us your choices as we move along. So we've got quite a lot to get through. So we'll move on to it. I'm going to go around this time on a clockwise. I may regret this going to Glenn first, but go in the clockwise direction. Goal, Glenn. What's your goal that you will never ever get tired of watching? That you will take with you to the desert island?
This was one of the toughest ones, but Bergkamp versus Newcastle. To me, it's a perfect goal. I can watch it over and over again. What the fuck is that noise?
Go on, carry on. I'm just trying to add a bit of class to your voice, Glenn.
What? Oh, no. The Bergkamp. Oh, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. Bergkamp Newcastle. I'm sorry, I can't be more original than that. It's the best goal I've ever seen. Yeah,
well, I can't really argue with that, really. It's a fantastic goal. I love the way he talks about it since as well. I think it was on the did you see the Ian Wright show that he did with Dennis Bergkamp when he visited him recently? Yeah, it's lovely. I love the way he talks about it. It's fantastic as well. What a guy. Paul, what be your goal that you'd take with you to the desert island?
Well, I just want to give thanks to Glenn because I thought everyone would pick the same goal. So I'm just thank you to Glenn for not.
Yeah, you're saying that because I know you've picked my goal.
Yeah, sorry, Darren.
I bet no one's got mine.
Here we go. My goal. I'm just going to sum it up in 5 words. It's up for grabs now.
Gotta be. Right? Yeah, I mean, it means so much to so many.
Just saying those words gives me goosebumps. You know, I just that there is no other goal for me. That it's Michael Thomas last minute Anfield to win the league against the mighty Liverpool. There's nothing ever going to beat that for me.
I know. I've said before on a previous show. I think I actually broke my toe when that goal went in. I kicked my toe when I ran out the room on my sofa and didn't even care that I broke my toe. That's how much it meant at the time.
I've got to say, if I can just add to that as well, my wife, current wife, is from Liverpool. Yeah, and there's
current wife.
Her brother
shows a lot of faith in the marriage.
Her brother played for Liverpool in reserves in Liverpool in the 70s. Completely red family. I was living in Spain in '89 and just met my wife, and that was the night of our first date. What's so good about it is every time I remember our anniversary, I say, this is the anniversary of our first date, and she thinks I'm being really romantic, but I know it's all about Mickey Thomas.
I love this guy.
You're never going to forget it, are you? You're never going to forget that day.
Never. No, it's good, honestly, really, yeah.
Oh, amazing. No, it's incredible. Well, my goal
Hang
is.
on, I done my goal.
Oh, sorry,
yeah.
go on.
We got all mushy and romantic there for a minute. Go ahead.
I know.
In fact, I'm surprised there's a third one, but for me, he's my age. It was Tony Adams' goal against Everton, the one that they built a statue on the celebration. After that was after years of George Graham, which loved. Don't get me wrong, was a big fan in those days. Watched him home and away, and that goal was how Wenger had changed that George Graham team. It was Tony Adams making a run through the back line, and Stevie bowled with a delicate little chip and a smashed half volley into the corner, and that celebration is just fabulous. That's my.
Do you know what? That is a really, really good shout. And I have to be fair. I mean, they're all brilliant goals, but that's got to be, the best so far for me as well, Darren. That's a very, very good choice.
Thank you very much.
Good choice. My one as well. My one's a really unusual one. It just, I don't know. It's just from a favourite player. It's David Rocastle's goal against Middlesbrough. It's relatively non-plus game. We won the routine 3-0. If you haven't seen it, I really urge you to just have a look at it on YouTube after the show, obviously.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Paul Merson had a great game. He scored a couple of great goals. Kevin Richardson, it was during Paul Davis's ban. I think it was halfway through his ban for breaking Glenn Cockle's jaw. And Kevin Richardson was in the team. He hit the crossbar with a banging shot from distance as well. And I remember this vividly because I was in the ground watching it from the North Bank, and my favourite player scored the third and final goal of the game, but he just picked it up from a pass from, I think it was Michael Thomas, and he just set off on a run from the right wing, and he went round about 5 or 6 players and stuck it in the top left right-hand corner postage stamp, came off the right-hand post and in, made it even better. And I just went mental because he's the guy, really, although I was an Arsenal fan before, but he's the guy that really cemented my love for the club. And I will never, ever forget David Rocastle. And I think he's, in this day and age, if he was around now, he'd be priceless. He'd be 150
his time, wasn't he, really? There weren't players like that so much in those days, were there?
No. And I was in awe of John Barnes as well, the way he was, just the way he played. And he was the player at the time that scared the life out of me whenever Arsenal played Liverpool. It was John Barnes. He was going to rip us apart. And he was our John Barnes. He had everything, David Rocastle. He was so strong. Because he looks very nice and sweet. He's got a lovely face, any old David Rocastle. But I tell you what, he was tough. And he worked hard, really hard. He just had everything. He had that bit of flair. And I loved him. But that goal was, I will always go back to that goal. We've scored, probably so many more better and more memorable goals. But that one's special to me. I loved it.
That's very good. That's what the show's about. I'm just glad we're not on your desert island.
I'll tell you what, you watch it though, and it's an incredible goal. I loved it. It's a really good goal. If Messi had scored that goal, it'll be shown worldwide for months. So let's go back the other way this time. And this is the game that you would like to take you with you to watch, that you would never get tired of watching as well. And I bet you maybe a certain one will come up again as well. But Darren,
nobody's got mine. Nobody's got mine because
I bet no one's got mine either.
Nobody's got mine because we lost.
Oh really?
Oh shit! Oh, I am so intrigued.
I want it until the last 10 minutes. It was I've watched a lot of football, as you can see by looking at me. I'm getting on a bit, and I've watched so many Arsenal games over the years, and this is the best I've ever seen. It was the best game of football I've ever been to, and we lost semi-final of the FA Cup, Manchester United away, Villa Park. Wow. The Ryan Giggs goal. That game, I was just blown away. Honestly, there was nobody in that ground at the end of that game that wasn't just drained. It was the best players. There was for Arsenal. I was looking back today. There was Vieira, Petit, Freddie, Bergkamp, and for them they had Schmeichel and Neville and Beckham, Giggs. Keane. It was just a battle. We missed a penalty last minute, Bergkamp.
Oh,
you know, it was just the best game of football. And if I'm going on a desert island and I want to watch football, I want to watch that game, except for the last 10 minutes. Okay, that's when it can go.
I got to give you major props, man, because I remember when my kids used to watch Sesame Street, there was this thing, it's how you look at it, and you take an awful loss and you look at it as this beautiful thing. I wish I had half of that, man. That's fucking beautiful. I gotta say.
Thank you.
It was really good. What a game. I mean, he never took another penalty after that, did he, Dennis Bergkamp?
No. It was just, I'm sure it was just a game and a half. It was a brilliant game of football. Really, and at everything,
it was.
You know, opposite had penalties, last minute penalty missed. Anyway, great game of football.
There's I said this again on a previous podcast as well, and I said I'd put the link to the show in the description of that podcast, but when I went to find it, I couldn't find it at the time, and it was a podcast, and I think I remember it now. It might have been the Mondial podcast, and it just discusses stories across football. It's not an Arsenal specific podcast, and they had an episode which purely discussed the rivalry at that time between Arsenal and United, but it was from a different point of view. It was from the fans' point of view, and it was absolutely brilliant, and it really brought back so many memories and about all the clashes we had at the time. But the good thing was the fans that they interviewed for it's like a talking heads type of podcast, you know, and they were so respectful of each other at that point. We hated each other. However, we both had a lot of respect for each other's teams, and it was just great. It was great times. It was just one of those once in a lifetime type of rivalries that's come about. I don't think we've had one similar since. You've got the Liverpool, Man City, and all that. It doesn't feel the same. It does to those fans of those clubs, but at that point, we were just slugging it out, like you said. It's just like we were trading punches, weren't we?
Yeah.
And it was something special. What about you, Paul? What was your game?
Well, mine follows apparently alarming theme in that it's also a game we didn't win.
Jeez, these guys, they're killing me. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm in awe of you guys. I'm not making fun of you. I'm in awe of you.
Wow. So mine is the home 2-2 draw with Barcelona from the Champions League some years back, when they had it was at the height of the great Barcelona with Messi and all that stuff going on. And after 20 minutes, we were at least a goal down. And I remember turning to my friend Dave, who used to sit next to him, and we laughed because we didn't understand what was going on the pitch. They were so good, Barcelona. They were untouchable at that point. It was just incredible to see what they were doing. Ibrahimovic scored, I think, 2 goals for them. It looked like they were going to score 4 or 5. But in the context of the match, I think 20 minutes to go, or maybe a bit longer than that, we brought Walcott on. We ended up somehow getting a 2-2 draw out of that game. It was incredible. So we'd seen, you know, the extremes of like some of the best football I've ever seen live, probably the best football I've ever seen live, and then somehow not losing the game. The whole dynamic of it was pretty amazing to be in the stadium and watch. So I'd love to watch that one again.
Holy cow. I'm like blown away by these guys. If Arsenal lose or draw, I can't even watch the highlights. If I wanted that much disappointment, I'd bring my wife to the desert island. But I'm sorry to be a cliche, but Old Trafford 2002 winning the title there. That's my game that I would love to watch over and over on that island.
Good one. Yeah, no, it's all good choices. Really good choices. My one's a weird one again. It's just by chance that it's the same teams involved. Arsenal, Middlesbrough again. But it was.
Did you just watch Arsenal, Middlesbrough on a loop, Andrew?
No, seriously, it's like 7-0. The 05.
Your desert island off the northeast coast of England.
Wow, yeah.
Who just made me choke laugh?
Special for two reasons, right? It was special because it was the final season at Highbury. And I went into the game not really expecting, because the back four was Lauren, Giroud, Senderos, and left back was Pascal Segan.
Okay.
So I honestly thought we might, because we were letting in goals as well, pretty bad that season. As you can tell by those players. But
so is this still
go ahead, Andrew. How does it feel? How does it feel talking over music?
Oh, it's lovely. That is lovely.
No, it's not lovely. I'm making fun of you. You're not supposed to like it. You're not supposed to like it. Go ahead.
I was at the match, and I was just blown away by that performance. And the attacking play was just incredible. From one to the other, I mean, we had everything: volleys, long range shots, just beautiful passes, intricate movement. And it was that period of time which I really crave for again, where we could be defending a corner or the opposition could have had a shot or something like that. And 7 seconds later, it's in the back of their net because of the way we broke. And it was just so exciting. And we were 4-0 up at half time, I think. And we didn't so many times. How many times do you see where a team's 4-0 up at half time and you don't score in the second half? You just take your foot off the gas. We didn't at all. We just went for the jugular again. And I left that ground so excited. And I was just about to go on travelling. I was just about to leave the UK for a couple of years. And yeah, I just left. I was so overwhelmed by that performance because I wasn't expecting it. And to be fair, we had a few big wins around that sort of time. Season before, season after. I think we beat Everton 7-0 as well. And what would we do for that nowadays? I mean, Jesus, I just loved that game. I was so exhilarated by the performance and the attacking play. It was just, that's why I think the Arsenal team of that sort of era, from the Invincibles time and the season before and after or so, is so much more exciting to watch than the great teams you've got now, like Man City especially. It's because of, it's just exciting. I don't find Man City's football, I know this is controversial, but I find it quite boring.
What?
But you can't call that sort of team boring ever. I mean, sometimes Liverpool are fantastic, but sometimes they're dire as well, and they're winning. I mean, they're amazing, but the football it ain't a patch on that sort of Wenger era for me.
It's funny you picked Middlesbrough. My game I nearly picked was 4-0 Middlesbrough away. Just to remember those times when we go to those kind of places and blow teams away, which feels like a distant dream at the moment. But you know, it used to be pretty regular, didn't it? Going up to places like that and giving them a good spirit on their own ground. Yeah,
I know. I can't believe that Pascal Segan was at left back as well, and just can you imagine that now? It's like Socrates at right back there not long ago as well. It's just balmy. But anyway, let's move on. I mean, by the way, as well, let's not Middlesbrough had a really good team then as well. I think there's Ravanelli and Dieta. No, I know. It's like, but yeah, I wasn't. That's why I wasn't expecting it, and I was just blown away by how good it was. Right, game to wipe from the first surface of the earth. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go quickly first this time because I can. Anyway, it's 8-2 away.
Oh, that's mine. I wince every time I think of it.
I think it might have been Tim Stillman that was talking about it before as well, and he linked quite cleverly the demise of Wenger from that particular game. He thinks it really affected him, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the truth. Really, to be perfectly honest, it was demoralising, and I've never felt so low.
There was so many kids playing that day. It was no excuse. But that was my choice too. It pains me to even think about it.
Yeah, I know. It's just I can't even talk about it. To be perfectly honest, it's a horrible performance. A horrible life event that I want to get rid of.
When you sent me the questions, my first thought was 5-1 Tottenham. No, that fucking 8-2 game. That so. And that stuck for the whole 24 hours since you sent me the question.
Yeah, I know. I can't think of any. I mean, we've had some bad losses, but that tops a lot for me. So let's go to you then, Paul. We've had Glenn's one. Let's move on.
I'm amazed. I thought everyone would pick the same game as me, but I'm going to go Champions League final.
Yeah, I know. It's very close. It was very close.
you know, I know being there and all that, but who cares? You need to win it, don't you? You wherever we were 14 minutes from glory to lose like that, that game's got to go in the bin for me.
The reason I didn't pick it was because the goal we scored to put us 1-0 up was probably one of the best moments of my Arsenal footballing. I wouldn't want to lose that emotion at that point, because I was elated when that goal went in, and we were a player down, and I thought it might have been our day. It was horrendous at the end, but at least I felt nice during that game for that little period of time. That's why I didn't pick it. Hey, what about you, Darren?
Well, I've got to double down on Paul, but I can make it even worse, really. It's seriously, I'm going to bring the mood of this really down now. With a
smile, he's going to do it.
That's the game I chose. No, seriously, that's the game I chose. I mean, the month started off pretty badly because I bought 4 tickets from a dodgy site online for £1,600, and it was a dodgy site online. So I lost not only 400 quid of my own money, but £1,200 of 3 good mates' money.
Oh my God.
And hang on, I ain't started yet. Then, of course, we lost the game. But no, seriously. On the morning of the game, my mother died.
Oh, gee.
No
I
way.
said, bring it down. My dear mother, she hated me going to football, always. My dad was a big Arsenal fan. Got me into Arsenal. My mum hated me travelling around Europe to watch Arsenal, which I did everywhere. And she said, "Oh, please don't go. Please don't go. It'll be rough." I said, "Look, it's the first time in my life I'm going to get to a Champions League final. I bought tickets. Then I get ripped off for £1,600. And then the morning of the game, she goes and dies." What do you think of that? That day, I want to wipe from history.
I don't blame you. Well,
I
think you won that one.
She was fine. She would have laughed at this podcast. She wouldn't have listened to it. She said it was all about fucking Middlesbrough.
Jesus.
Oh, God.
I said it was going to bring it down, but you asked me the question. I only saw these questions half an hour before we started, and that's the day I want to forget.
I don't blame you.
I'm done.
Yeah.
What? Holy shit, man! I don't even know what to say. And I always have something awful to say.
Honestly, fun.
Man, I'm glad that you have. I'm glad. I'm glad that your mom.
I can joke about it. It's a long time ago. It's 2006. I ran a pub at the time, and I remember I'd made a big deal of it. I had TVs everywhere. It was an old country pub, 16th century country pub, beautiful pub in the middle of nowhere. Lots of mates come in, had big screens put up everywhere I could, and then of course we lost. But after the game, everyone who wasn't Arsenal, who would try and take the piss out of me, I'd go, "Do you know my mum died this morning?" Just shut up.
Bloody hell.
I gotta say, dude, though, I love the fact you said that she would laugh at the whole thing.
She would. Me and my mum. She was fun.
Awesome.
She loved it.
I'm going to set up a Just Giving page after the podcast as well, so I'm getting 1,600 quid back.
That would be nice.
Anyway, just quickly, just before we move on, just a couple of comments from Ryan as well, who sadly couldn't make it today. So he's just first apologise. No worries, Ryan. Hopefully he'll come back on next week, maybe. Question to you guys about Glenn's match. Looking back, does anyone notice Parlour was hungover after a 4-day drink binge after the FA Cup final win? That was the I think we could say that he was pissed for quite a few of those matches around that sort of period of time. To be that hungover and still play at Old Trafford in a huge match, hats off to Ray. Yeah, I totally understand. Ray, what a legend he was. I like Ray Parlour. Very underrated player. We needed VAR for the Champions League final, the irony as well. How true. I mean, what about that flipping Van Persie was sending off as well? I've never known anything like that. I mean,
yeah, well, funny enough, my dad died that day. No.
Yes, it was like, my cat died. I
love British wit, man. I fucking love it.
I don't know whether it's true about his mum dying. I think he just wanted to trump my broken toe, to be perfectly honest.
No, my dad didn't. I'm not my he died.
Let's move on. All right. A song for the Wenger era, then, that makes the song that sums up the Wenger era for you. Let's go to you first, Darren, this time.
Come back to me because I don't know if I did this one.
Okay. Let's go to you then. Let's go clockwise. Glenn, what's your song?
Okay, what was the question again?
Wenger,
For who?
the song.
For Wenger? Okay. Really quick to preface this, there was a long time where I literally, if I could have had any dinner with anybody in the entire world, it would have been Arsene Wenger. And the last few years, all he did was make me lose my appetite. But I still love and respect him. And I actually got his song here. I know a lot of people like to harp on the end of his era, but he brought so much to us. And yes, I think he deserves a statue too. So this is the song that I picked for him, if I can make it go. Let the good times roll, because there were a lot of good times. And this would be my Arsene song. And now if I can figure out how to turn this fucking thing off. Okay. So yeah, that's my Arsene song. I don't dwell on those last few awful years. Some people can even rightfully say last 10 awful years, but I love the man and give him a statue, and Let the Good Times Roll was mostly Arsene Wenger to me.
Great.
Excellent
Good
choice.
choice. Good choice. Paul, what's yours?
Okay, so it's not a song that I associate with being in that era, but it just sums it up for me. That's Entertainment by the Jam.
Oh, great choice.
Because I think
Sorry, I lost that one. Missed it.
I said That's Entertainment by the Jam.
Yeah.
Because
Great song.
for me, apart from maybe towards the last couple of years, we got entertainment. Whether it was, we got a lot of goals, we got a lot of good things happen, a lot of good football. So generally, especially from what we've seen following that, I think it can be categorised as entertainment, which necessarily the Emery era could not. Not
all entertainment is good.
Yeah. So for me, that's
yeah, absolutely. That's a great choice, a great song as well. Really, in fact, I like the Morrissey version as well. But there you go.
Interesting. Okay.
Darren, what's yours?
If I can be honest, I only saw the questions half hour before I sat down before the show.
I know.
But I got one because it's just reminded me because we played it at my mother's funeral.
I gotta follow this fucker on Twitter. You better put all that. You better put all that info in there, Andrew.
That big cold smile.
That's a great song as well.
10 years of smiling. 10 years of smiling.
Unfortunately,
he was there for 20.
I need positivity on my Twitter feed. So, Andrew, please put these guys' Twitter links in your comments so I can.
Of course. Thanks for looking, but I'll put them on the sort of promos for the show on Twitter already. But never mind.
All right.
Anyway,
shut the fuck up and move on to your next question.
No,
you got a song.
I've only got 180 followers. It's a bit sad, really, isn't it? Yeah.
This is it's quality, not quantity, mate. Yeah. It's quality, not quantity. Right. This is my choice for the Wenger era.
I fucking hate that.
Myself by the Divinals.
I fucking hate that song with a passion.
Oh, I love it. But thinking back to the Wenger era just makes me want to touch myself.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That.
Right. Next one is the song about the Emery era. Have you got one of those?
Yeah. I just missed that question, the Wenger one. I did the others. This was easy. Michael Jackson, bad.
Beat it as well.
But I thought that was your beat it was more
back to my last song choice anyway. But
bad.
Yeah, that's a very bad. Is a very good one. Yeah.
I'm an Arsenal man, so I supported the club. I didn't criticise him. I kept backing him, but that last 2 months, I just flipped and thought, this isn't going nowhere.
Yeah, that was my time frame too.
Yeah.
Good choice. What about you, Paul? What's your Emery era song?
Fear by Ian Brown.
Oh, I love that song.
Because I was sick of turning up to away grounds and watching us play with so much fear, like I didn't recognise Arsenal. I went to Leicester the season before, went to Sheffield United this season, watching us kind of cower at the back of the stadium, trying not to concede goals, just trying not to get beat. that wasn't Arsenal to me. That was something else. I couldn't stick that. Turning up to grounds like that and cowering in the corner. No, not for me.
Oh, no, I know. Oh my God, it just makes me sad just thinking back that short period of time. Honestly,
it was grim.
I know. Oh, God. Right, Glenn.
Total reverse of Wenger. All I can think about is those last 2 months where we wanted him out and it seemed like the fucking team was not going to fucking get rid of him. And this is the song that I just kept thinking of.
Great one.
Excellent. Good shout. Really good shout.
I really, that song. I made a video of Unai Emery with that fucking song. I was so pissed off.
Have you seen the interview he's just done recently?
Oh my God, yes.
Oh my God, I just want to smash his face in even more now.
Isn't it ironic though that a man that we couldn't understand when he was here suddenly he's very clear in what he's saying?
Yeah. Very true. Good point.
He speaks very fluent bullshit.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, this is my choice.
I was happy in the haze of a drunken hour, but heaven knows I'm miserable now. I was looking for a job.
Heaven knows I'm miserable now. Taylor Smith.
Yeah.
I don't really need to move on that, really.
Andrew, I hope you're going to do a playlist of all these songs later.
I'll stick it on Spotify.
Yeah.
Right there, the Arteta.
Well, I've taken this from the view that we're going to be looking back on this in 10 years' time, okay? And we'll be saying, what's Arteta's song? I'm a bit unsure about Arteta at the moment.
It's sort of how you're feeling now about it, really.
Okay.
However you want to take it, anyway, Darren. Anyway.
All right, then it works for now, but he hasn't proved it yet.
Yeah.
So for me, for Mr. Lego Head from the Lego Movie, everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome.
Yeah. Isn't that for the? Yeah, of course. That's a perfect choice. Very good. For the
Sorry,
Lego
man. Notice only had half hour. Oh,
Very good. Very, very good. Now, Paul, what's your choice?
The only way is up.
Yeah, I was going to choose that.
Because surely we can't get any worse.
Is it that? Things can only get better by D. Ream.
I thought I didn't like the political connotation to that one.
But yeah. Glenn, what's yours?
This is probably the only time it's going to happen in this whole show, but I'm being more positive than the two guys below me. For me, this just reeks of a movie. Since Arteta's first press conference, it feels like that Rocky moment where Adrian says, "Go for it," or whatever. and it's just building up right now. There's positives after every game, after every loss. Shut the fuck up with this already. There's positives after every loss or draw to take from a game, no matter how upset you are about it. I'm really feeling good about this team, and it feels like a Rocky story to me. We're coming back. Arteta's the right man. We still need some help. It's debatable where we need the help, but Rocky, man, we're fucking Rocky.
Yeah,
good shout.
Brilliant shout. Yeah. Well, this is my one for the Arteta era. One of my favourite songs, actually, of all time.
Oh, I love this song.
I can't hear it.
Can't you hear it?
I can hear it.
What a Wonderful World by Joey Ramone. I mean, I love the original version, obviously, but absolutely love this tune. One of my favourite songs. But yeah, made me feel happy again. And I'm positive for the first time in quite a while about Arsenal and everything. Ooh, turn it off now. Everything that's going on with the youngsters. We've never had a such a promising bunch of young players coming through than we have, well, probably since
that
the
time.
80s and 90s, you know.
Thomas, Davis,
Exactly.
Hillier, you know, that group that Rocastle, Merce. Yeah.
Well, we've got a lot, and you know, it's I just feel very positive for the first time in ages, and I'm looking forward to what the future's going to hold.
Yeah, I mean, I sounded a bit negative there, saying it's in the future. And my jury's out for me on Arteta. I didn't. We all knew that Wenger had to go eventually. It saddened my heart the way the club treated him, the way the fans treated him at the end. I was hoping Emery was going to be right. That was a disaster. I find it a strange decision that Arsenal have appointed somebody with no experience, just one of the biggest jobs in world football. But my heart is there. I hope he does it. You know.
There's some very strange comments coming in.
I know. Did you see that?
Why is Jamie Vardy mad at us? I don't understand.
Jamie Vardy's picture, but we are 10th in the league. So it's a bit of a funny one, that. But I'll just.
Why are we? What is this a podcast? This is the podcast celebrating, isn't it? That's why we're happy, isn't it?
Exactly. Apparently, we are massively big fake Arsenal fans who love Stan Kroenke. What can I brought you to that? And also, unknown driller, maybe the same person. Start speaking out against Stan. I know you Americans love him.
Oh, you guys, what? They're Americans because they're talking to me?
It's not that kind of show, mate. It's not that kind of show.
I think you upset a lot of people talking about touching yourself, Andrew.
Exactly. People can't take a joke at all, can they?
I didn't realise we were having a Stan Loving though. I really didn't.
I know.
Did we mention his name?
Has he been?
I joined the show late. Was there like a Stan Loving before I joined?
No loving except for Andrew touching himself. That was it.
I'm quite happy to do that if it ups the viewers. There's no problem. But it's not that kind of show, and I haven't got a box of tissues with me, so I can't at the moment. So,
come on now.
I'll move on. That's disgusting. Sorry. Right, you've only got about 10 minutes left, don't you? So let's move on, Glenn, to the last one on here, which is the film that encapsulates your life with Arsenal.
I'm sure there's a bazillion films in the UK, but mine is so predictable. Fever Pitch. That's me. I fucking love the club. Win, lose, draw, piss me off, or make me fucking ecstatic. Fever Pitch. I'm sorry, I can't be more original than that. We don't have many football movies here, and anything
that have to be a football movie.
You know, before that, I think it was Pele against the Nazis in Victory here.
I think
that was the two football movies made in America. Oh, no, Fever Pitch wasn't even made in America. So that's sorry, dudes. I wish I could be more original.
Do you know what? I've only seen that film once, and it must have been probably when it came out. And I'm probably due to watch it again because I've read the book and as well. I love the book, but I usually, when I love a book, I don't watch the film about it in case it ruins it. But I might have to watch that again one day.
They were different, weren't they? The book was great. I love that book when he goes to Highbury for the first time, and grown men could shout the word wanker at the top of their voices. And nobody even looked around, you know. And that was it for me as a kid. You know, you went in with all these men, and it was tribal, and the language. It was incredible. Loved it. Film was a film. Book was a book. It was great.
No, it was really good, and I love the sort of musical element to the Nick Hornby books as well. That was me when I was young. I was into my vinyl records and all my music and everything, and obviously Arsenal. So yeah, very relatable. So what about you, Paul?
Train spotting for me.
Trains?
Well, can
be funny, can be grim, but you can't walk away.
Oh my God, that's awesome! That was fucking great. Not worthy. That was fucking awesome.
Really good shout. Yeah, like it a lot. What about you, Daz?
Well, I'm again thinking on my feet because I must have not had my glasses on because I thought it was another song. So I had Barry White, my first, my last, my everything.
Oh, that's awesome, and I love that.
And the answer to all my dreams.
I'll take that. You can. You didn't have very much.
Well, while you were just talking, about Fever Pitch, I did think of a movie, one of my favourites, because it just encapsulates my life life with Arsenal. That's what you were talking about. The Wizard of Oz. You know, when it all starts in black and white.
Yeah.
We got our first colour television for the 1971 Cup final. And suddenly Arsenal were in colour, you know. And it's like, you know, like the Wizard of Oz, where it all starts in black and white, and then she goes over the rainbow, and it's all in colour. I remember that day so clearly. I was 5 years old. Don't remember watching the game. Remember my old man getting so worked up when we scored the winner. He was banging on the arm of the chair so much, the arm of the chair fell off. And I just remember that point. That was the moment I thought, this must be good. And I also thought my mum's going to kill him. But
what relative died that day?
I don't think it was down to the brilliance of the film either. I just think you had shit furniture.
Oh, you hear that noise? Do you hear that noise? That's my text noise for my wife. That I gave her the side. Did you guys hear that fucking noise?
You need to change it to.
Imagine hearing that noise when you're on Pornhub. But she fucking needs me. Hold on a second.
See, the trouble is, from now on, I will. Oh
my God! She wants to play that game with you where you sit around the table.
Are you done?
Monsters.
Are you done? That's the way she would say it. Are you done? Are you done yet? Are you done?
Helen! Right, on the train.
All right. Here we go. Guys, I have 5 minutes. I'm sorry.
No where were we? My film, bit cheesy. I thought, but never-ending story for me. Never-ending story.
True.
Because until the day I die, it's always going to be there. So as simple as that, really. I thought it's a perfect title for a film about my life at Arsenal, because it's hopefully it's never ending.
Hey, I need help. She said, "When are you done?" I'm torn between 5 minutes and 5 minutes, bitch. Which one should I?
Just sort out your social life. We're on a live podcast, mate. So tell you.
It's not like she could chase me around the house. Okay, go ahead. I brought the show to a halt. I'm sorry. I typed 5 minutes. I value my life.
No, thanks, mate, for letting me get on with my show. Right, well, I'm going to quickly go through a few. I had some great answers as well on Twitter from some of the great listeners. Stuart Lee, who is Stuart Lee 1, he's put for the goal, Henry v the Sperms, 2004, where they obviously run one leg from pitch to the other. Great goal. The game, obviously, Anfield 89. Well, I say not out, obviously, but that's his choice. The game he wants to wipe off the face of the earth would be Chavsky 6, Arsenal 0. Well, we lost 6-0 to the fucking Blues down the road. The Wenger Era song, Spandau Ballet Gold. Good one. The Emery song would be When the Going Gets Tough, Billy Ocean, which is a good choice as well.
Good choice, yeah.
Three Little Birds by Bob Marley for the Arteta era. And the film, same as you, Glenn, Beaver Pitch. 1 second, just another. Now here's some. Oh, that's not that one. Sorry, excuse me.
Right, well, while he's doing that, see this drink? If you ever accidentally drank your own piss and liked it, I recommend this drink. Rockstar Recovery Orange. Holy shit, this is awful. Anyway, did you look?
In time. If you want to hear more of me, well, there's 103 episodes of the Arsenal India podcast, which is now discontinued because I've just moved back to England. But
we can take this off there, but just quickly while I find this guy's answers. Where were you in India then?
We moved out to Delhi 4 years ago, and I'm proud to say that the first place I went to in India was to the Arsenal Delhi Supporters Club. Which unfortunately ended quite badly because I got us barred. Oh dear.
Can I ask you about a Family Guy joke that I heard about India? They called it the birthplace of diarrhea. That's a Family Guy joke. No fucking shit in the comments. I didn't make it up.
I'm very big
Like
in India.
Seth MacFarlane.
I actually, when I went travelling, Delhi was my first port of call, and I travelled around India. I was supposed to be for 6 weeks. I left after 3.
Yeah.
But
Don't get yourself in trouble, Andrew.
no, the souvenir I took with me was parasites in my stomach.
Oh,
So unfortunately,
You're very welcome.
I didn't have the best. But I mean, you've got to go to Agra and see the Taj Mahal. It's like breathtaking.
Shit, I've been 16 times. Can't stand it.
I was trying to be nice. I was trying to say
No,
something.
it's fabulous. Obviously, I'm joking. When you see it once, it's great. But when you go the second time, it's great. Third time, fourth time. Every time somebody came out to visit me, I had to take them to the Taj Mahal. It was only 3 hours down the road.
I'll take it.
By the 16th time, honestly, I just sat outside.
Off air, I'll talk to you a little bit more about my time in India, because I don't want to put any of the listeners off, viewers off.
It's great. Honestly, there's a thriving Arsenal community out in India. It's fabulous. There's Arsenal supporters clubs everywhere. I was lucky enough to fly down to Mumbai to interview Robert Pires, who was doing a thing for Arsenal in Mumbai. It's a proper thriving community. Unfortunately now, because we've been shit for 10 years, relative, it's all full of Manchester City and Chelsea and Liverpool fans. Well, it's always full of Liverpool fans. Everywhere's full of Liverpool fans. But it's a fabulous Arsenal community out there, and they're so passionate, incredible. Made me out there. I did a podcast, did 103 episodes of a podcast for Indian Arsenal fans. It was brilliant, really cool.
Fantastic.
that was very awesome.
No, that's great, mate. Mr. DJ, who is at Expat Gooner. Same goal, actually. Henry dribbling the length of the pitch against the scum and celebrating in front of the clock end. Game, Liverpool v Arsenal, 89. White from history, the 1999 FA Cup semi-final.
It's my game.
Yeah. Wenger Era, that's weird, isn't it? Wenger Era
They went on to win the treble as well,
This
year.
is weird,
They went
isn't it?
on to win the treble.
The Wenger Era song, What a Wonderful World, but he's chosen the Louis Armstrong version. First, that's for the first 12 years. The Thrill Is Gone, BB King, for the last 8 of his reign. Emery Era song, It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday, Boys to Men. Arteta future song, Optimistic Sounds of Blackness. And the Arsenal film Fever Pitch, As If There's Another Answer. It's good. So yeah, that's another good one as well.
There's another answer.
Yeah, exactly. And AASC, who is 1989 and all that. Song to summarise the Wenger Era, Boys of Summer. Song to summarise the Emery Era, Bummer in the Summer. I haven't heard of that one. Summarise Arteta future, Here Comes the Summer. I think he's slightly obsessed. I think he might have the SAD. Still longing for the summer. And A Sunny Afternoon by the Kinks to summarise his feelings regarding the Arsenal. So there we go. You've got
Andrew, I gotta go.
I was just about to say, you've got to say goodbye. So thank you very much for your time, Glenn. So
thank you. I had a blast. Don't forget, take it easy, guys. It was nice to meet you. I'll see you on social media. I'm gonna check out your podcast, all that other shit. Andrew, shut the fuck up. I'll talk to you guys later.
I'm just trying to make you feel at home.
Where are you? Oh my God!
He's a nutter.
Andrew, what are you thinking? Are we long to the end here?
No, just finishing up now then, fellas. Thanks so much. Really appreciated it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope we're on again soon.
Lovely.
I hope you don't regret it too much anyway. It's
I love it. Thank you.
There's not an awful lot going on football-wise at the moment. Everything's going on over in Dubai. So, yeah, it's interesting episode to have. So thanks ever so much for your input and really appreciate it. How can people follow you on social media, and how can they listen to your podcast and read your blog? Just quickly tell them, Paul.
So you can find us on Twitter. It's Talking Arse Blog. I think it's at Blog Arse is the tag. And if you follow that link and go, there's a link to our webpage, and the podcasts are all on there as well. So you can just find it all through there. It's talkingarse.uk is the web link.
Fantastic. Well, I'll retweet everything you do pretty much. I do really enjoy it, and I genuinely mean that. It's really, really good stuff. It's done with a bit of humour as well, which I like. I love the way that you do your writing. And the podcast you've just started, got really, really good stuff as well, mate. So, yeah, highly recommend it.
Appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
How about yourself?
Well, you can't really find me anywhere now. I'm on Twitter at Delhi Gooner, Delhi as in the city, because that's where I was at Delhi Gooner. I was the host of the Arsenal India podcast, but that's no longer. And I'm guest spotting quite a lot on the Clock End Talk podcast. But Tez, the fine host there, he's back now. So I'm on there less and less. So yeah, if you want me on your podcast, give us a shout. Come and give you my positive views.
That'd be fantastic.
Definitely.
Really like you both to come back on as soon as you can. That'd be really good. I really enjoyed it. So thanks so much. Thank you to everyone listening, everyone watching. Please give it a like before you go. That'd be really grateful. And if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a show that comes up live, mostly weekly. So thanks ever so much, guys, and up the Arsenal.
Cheers. Thanks very much, Adrian.
Cheers.
Thank you, guys.